Hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about Accounting Standard 5. Accounting Standard 5. Net profit or loss for a period, prior period items and change in accounting policies. In this accounting standard we have to understand all these concepts: ordinary activities, extraordinary activities, prior period items, change in accounting estimates, change in accounting policies. We'll see one by one. First concept is about ordinary activities. Ordinary activities means routine activities of any business. We'll see what it is there. These are the activities which are undertaken by the enterprise as part of its business, and such related activities in which enterprise engages in furtherance of, incidental to, or arising from those activities. In furtherance of means advancements of the actual activity. Incidental to means because of the activity, some activity happened in the future or arising from those activities. These are ordinary activities. These are nothing but just general activities of the business. For example, profit on sale of stock. This is just general activity, ordinary activity of the business. We'll see. Exception items. Usually, ordinary activities will not disclose separately in books of accounts. We'll see how we have to disclose in case of exception items. As per para 12 of AS5, when items of income and expense within profit or loss from ordinary activities are of such size, nature or incidence that their disclosure is relevant to explain the performance of the enterprise of for the period, the nature and amount of such items should be disclosed separately. Here it is saying nothing but important or ordinary activities having such size, nature or incidence that their disclosure is relevant to explain the performance of the enterprise. That's why we have to disclose the nature and amount of such items separately. Usually for ordinary activities, no need to disclose separately. But in case of exception items, we have to disclose separately the nature and amount of such items, because those activity are important. It is having such size, nature or incidence to explain the performance of the enterprise. For example, written down a write down of inventory to net realizable value, reversal of such write downs, disposal of items of fixed assets, disposal of long term investments. All these items having such size, nature or incidence that explain the performance of the enterprise. So it requires separate disclosure. Next concept is about extraordinary activities. These comprise of the income or expenses that arise from events or transactions that are clearly distinct from the ordinary activities. Clearly distinct from the ordinary activities. That means other than ordinary activities of the enterprise, and therefore are not expected to recur frequently or regularly. Not expected to recur frequently or regularly. These activities will not recur frequently in the normal business. We'll see disclosure requirement. The nature and amount of such extraordinary item should be disclosed separately in the statement of profit and loss in a manner that its impact on current profit or loss can be pursued. For example, loss by earthquake, refund of government grants. These activities are having extraordinary nature. So we have to disclose separately the nature and amount. Next concept is about prior period items. Prior period items are incomes or expenses which arise in the current period as a result of errors or omissions of one or more prior periods while preparation of financial statements. Prior period items are incomes or expenses which arise in the current period because of some errors or omissions of one or more prior periods while preparation of financial statements. For example, mathematical mistakes might be happened in the last year, or oversight. Because of oversight some mistakes happen. Those are prior period items. Due to those errors in the current period, some income or expense arises. This is about prior period items. Disclosure requirement. The nature and amount of prior period items should be disclosed separately in the statement of profit or loss in the manner that their impact on the current profit or loss can be perceived. For example, revenue expenditure treated as capital expenditure in the last year. In prior periods, one or more prior periods. Wrong totaling of stock. These will be considered as prior period items. Change in accounting estimates. Meaning of nature of accounting estimate. If you remember the prudence concept, what prudence concept is saying, any uncertainty about any transactions in the business, we have to create estimates for those type of transactions. That is what prudence concept is saying. We'll see what here it is there. Due to uncertainties inherent in business, many financial statement items cannot be measured with precision. Precision means perfection, but only can be estimated. The use of estimate is an important inherent part of preparing financial statements and does not undermine their reliability. We should not undermine their reliability. For example, estimation of bad debts, estimate of scrap value of fixed assets, estimate of useful life of fixed assets. That is about meaning of accounting estimate. Next concept is about need of change in estimate. When we can change the estimate. Any estimate may have to be revised if changes occur in the circumstances based on which estimate was made. If any changes occur, we have to revise the estimate. If any new information is received about the estimate what we have created already, then we can revise the estimate. Due to more experience, we can revise the estimate. Due to subsequent developments, also we can revise the estimate. No fixed category. The revision of the estimate by its nature does not bring the adjustment within the definition of an extraordinary item or prior period items. Whatever the revision we are doing, it should not bring the adjustment within the definition of extraordinary item or prior period items. We have to revise with the same nature, same classification as earlier. The effect of a change in an accounting estimate should be classified using the same classification in the statement of profit and loss as was used previously for the estimate. We should classify using the same classification in the statement of profit or loss. Suppose previously we classified it as bad debts. This time also we have to classify under bad debts only. Disclosure requirement. If it is quantifiable, we have to disclose nature and amount both. If it is not quantifiable, we have to disclose only nature of that accounting estimate. If material effect in current period or subsequent periods, that is also important. Only if it is material, we have to disclose. Change in accounting policy. If you remember accounting standard 1, we already read about accounting policy. What is the meaning of accounting policy? Accounting policies are specific accounting principles and methods of applying those principles, which are adopted by the enterprise in the preparation and presentation of financial statements. Fundamental accounting assumption, going concern, consistency, accrual. We already read about it. General rule for accounting policies are once adopted should be adopted consistently. That is what consistency. It is one of the fundamental accounting assumption. Accounting policies once adopted should be adopted consistently. It is one of the fundamental accounting assumption. Reasons for change in accounting policy. When we can change the accounting policy. This also we studied in accounting standard 1. When change in accounting policy is allowed, when it is required by statute, compliance with any other accounting standard for better presentation and preparation of financial statements. And disclosure requirement also we have to see. Where we have to disclose these accounting policies. We have to disclose at one place. usually disclosed in notes to accounts, and these accounting policies should form an integral part of accounting financial statements. That is disclosure requirements. That is what here it is there. Now we'll see practice manual questions. Question number 13. Accounting Standard 5. When can a company change its accounting policy? We already studied this in AS1. When change is allowed? When required by statute, compliance with any other accounting standard for better presentation of true and fair view of financial statements. We'll see what is here. A change in accounting policy should be made in the following condition: if the change is required by some statute, compliance with any other accounting standard, or change would result in more appropriate presentation of financial statements. That is what it is there. Change in accounting policy may have a material effect on the items of financial statements. That's why it is necessary to quantify and disclose the effect of change on financial statement items like assets and liabilities. Here they have given some examples how it affects, how it is materially affects the items of financial statements. For example, if depreciation method is changed from straight line method to WDV, or if cost formula used for inventory valuation is changed from WDV to weighted average to FIFO, or if interest is capitalized which was earlier not in practice, or if proportionate amount of interest is changed to inventory which was earlier not the practice. All this may increase or decrease the net profit. Unless the effect of such change in accounting policy is quantified, the financial statements may not help the users of accounts. That is question number 13. Question number 14. A limited company created a provision for bad and doubtful debts at 2.5% on debtors in preparing the financial statements for the year 2010-11. Subsequently, on a review of the credit period allowed and financial capacity of the customers, the company decided to increase the provision to 8% on debtors as on 31st March 2011. The accounts were not approved by the board of directors till the date of decision. While applying the relevant accounting standard, can this revision be considered as an extraordinary item or prior period item? If you see here, company decided to increase the provision to 5%. Provision is just estimate, accounting estimate. It is not a extraordinary item. It is not a prior period item. Prior period item means in the current period some income or expense arises due to errors or omissions happened while preparation of financial statements in one or more prior periods. This is not relating to prior period, so it is not a prior period item, extraordinary item. We'll see both the definitions once. Prior period items. Prior period items are incomes or expenses which arise in the current period as a result of errors or omissions in the preparation of financial statements of one or more prior periods. Extraordinary items we'll see. These comprise of income or expenses that arise from events or transactions clearly distinct from the ordinary activities of the enterprise and therefore not expected to recur frequently or regularly. That is about extraordinary item. The given question, this revision of provision is not a extraordinary item nor prior period item. It is just revision of accounting estimate. We'll see what here it is written. As per para 21 of AS5, net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and changes in accounting policies. The preparation of financial statements involves making estimates which are based on the circumstances existing at the time when the financial statements are prepared. It may be necessary to revise an estimate in the subsequent period if there is a change in the circumstances on which the estimate was based. Revision of estimate by its nature does not bring the adjustment within the definitions of a period item or an extraordinary item. You see this concept, understand easily. Change in accounting estimates. Due to uncertainties inherent in business, many financial statement items cannot be measured with precision, but only can be estimated. The use of estimate is an important inherent part of preparing financial statements and does not undermine their reliability. Example, estimate of bad debts. Here also we have written the example. Need of change in estimate. An estimate may have to be revised only when if changes occur in the circumstances based on which the estimate was made due to any new information, due to more experience, due to subsequent development. Only under these circumstances we can revise the accounting estimate. That is what here also mentioned. In the given case, a limited company created 2.5% provision for bad and doubtful debts for the year 2010-11. Subsequently, in 2011, the company revised the estimate. They revised the accounting estimate based on the changes circumstances and want to create 8% provision. This change in estimate is neither a prior period item nor an extraordinary item. However, as per para 27, a change in accounting estimate which has material effect the current period should be disclosed and quantified. Any change in the accounting estimate which is expected to have a material effect later period should also be disclosed and quantified. This is question number 14. Next, question number 15. X Company Limited signed an agreement with its employees union for revision of wages in June 2012. Revision of wages. The wage revision is with retrospective effect from 1/4/2008. The arrear wages up to 31st March 2012 amounts to 80 lakhs. Arrear wages for the period from 1/4/2012 to 30 June 2012 being the date of agreement amounts to 7 lakhs. Decide whether a separate disclosure of arrear wages is required. Here we have to see this revision of wages is just a normal business activity. We'll see what it is there. It is given that revision of wages took place in June 2012 with retrospective effect from 1st April 2008. The arrear wages payable for the period from 1st April 2008 to 31st March 2012 cannot be taken as an error or omission in the preparation of financial statements. So it is not a prior period item. Additional wages liability of 87 lakhs from 1/4/2008 to 36/2012 should be included in current year wages. Yes. It may be mentioned that additional wages is an expense arising from ordinary activities of the company. Yes, it is regular activity of the business. Although abnormal in amount, such an expense does not qualify as an extraordinary item. Yes. However, as per para 12 of AS5, net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and changes in the accounting policies, when items of income or expense within the profit or loss from ordinary activities are of such size, nature, incidence that the disclosure is relevant to explain the performance of the enterprise for the period, the nature and amount of such items should be disclosed separately. This is what we discussed in AS5, exception item. Exception item. When items of income and expense within profit or loss from ordinary activities are of such size, nature or incidence that their disclosure is relevant to explain the performance of the enterprise, then the nature and amount of such items should be disclosed separately. That is what we studied. However, wages payable for the current year 1/4/2012 to 36/2012 amounting to 7 lakhs is not a prior period item, hence need not to be disclosed separately. This may be shown as current year wages. This is question number 15. Next, question number 16. Goods of rupees 5 lakhs were destroyed due to flood in September 2009. A claim was lodged with insurance company, but no entry was passed in the books for insurance claim. No entry was passed. No entry was passed. In March 2012, the claim was passed and the company received a payment of 3 lakhs 50,000 against the claim. That means they have received some income. Explain the treatment of such receipt in final accounts for the year ended 31st March 2012. Here if you see, this is the omission. In the prior period, September 2009, and in March 2012, the claim was passed by the company, received a payment of 3 lakhs 50,000. This is the income received because of some errors or omission while preparation of financial statements in one or more prior periods. That is what we have read in prior period items definition. Prior period items are incomes or expenses which arise in the current period as a result of errors or omissions in the preparation of the financial statements of one or more prior periods. This is the omission happened in the prior period. And later on in March 2012, the claim was passed and the company received a payment of 3,50,000. That means in the current period they have received some income 3,50,000 against the claim due to error or omission in the prior period. So it is a prior period item. The nature and amount of prior period items should be disclosed separately. We'll see what is there in the answer. As per provisions of AS5, net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and change in accounting policies. Prior period items are incomes or expenses which arise in the current period as a result of errors or omissions in the preparation of financial statements of one or more prior periods. Further, the nature and amount of prior period items should be disclosed separately in the statement of profit and loss in a manner that their impact on current profit or loss can be pursued. The given instance is clearly a case of error in the preparation of financial statements for the year 2009-10. Hence, claim received in the financial year 2011-12 is a prior period item, should be disclosed separately in the statement of profit and loss. That is question number 16. Question number 17. STB Limited makes a provision of expenses worth 7 lakhs. Provision for expenses worth 7 lakhs for the year ended 31st March 2011. But the actual expenses during the year ending 31st March 2011 comes to 9 lakhs. This is estimate, this is actual against the provision made during the last year. State with reasons whether this difference of 2 lakhs is to be treated as prior period item. Is it a error or omission? No. We'll see how to treat. I'll show you the concept. Accounting estimate. Meaning and nature of accounting estimate. Due to uncertainties inherent in the business, many financial statement items cannot be measured with precision but only can be estimated. The use of estimate is an important inherent part of preparing financial statement and does not undermine their reliability. This is the concept of accounting estimate, and this is clearly an accounting estimate. We'll see what is there in the answer. As per AS5, net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and changes in accounting policies as a result of uncertainties inherent in the business activities, many financial statements cannot be measured with precision but only can be estimated. The estimation process involves judgments based on the latest information available. The use of reasonable estimates is an essential part of preparation of financial statements. Yes, and does not undermine their reliability. We should not undermine their reliability. Estimates may have to be revised. Estimates may have to be revised when if we receive any additional information or any new updates relating to the estimates. If changes occur regarding the circumstances on which the estimate was based are a result of new information, more experience or subsequent developments. in these circumstances, we have to revise the estimate. As per the standard, the effect of change in accounting estimate should be classified using the same classification. This is what we also studied in AS5. We have to classify the same classification. The effect of change in accounting estimate should be classified using the same classification in the statement of profit or loss, which was used previously for the estimate. Prior period items are income or expenses which arise in the current period as a result of errors or omissions in the preparation of financial statements of one or more periods. Thus, revision of an estimate by its nature, the difference 2 lakhs is not a prior period items. Therefore, in the given case, expenses amounting to 2 lakhs is not a prior period item. It is relating to previous year recorded in the year, should not be recorded as prior period. That is what they have written. Yeah, this is about question number 17. Next, question number 18. A company created a provision of 75,000 for staff welfare. This is also provision while preparing the financial statements for 2010-11. On 31st March, in a meeting with Staff Welfare Association, it was decided to increase the amount of provision for staff welfare to 1 lakh. The accounts were approved by Board of Directors on 15 April 2011. Explain the treatment of such revision in financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2011. Again, same concept. As per AS5, net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and changes in accounting policies, the change in amount of staff welfare provision amounting to 25,000 is neither a prior period item nor an extraordinary item. It is just change in estimate which has been occurred in the year 2010-11. As per the provisions of the standard, normally all items of income and expense which are recognized in the period are included in the determination of net profit or loss of the period. This includes extraordinary items and effects of changes in accounting estimates. However, the effect of such change in accounting estimate should be classified using the same classification in the statement of profit or loss was used previously for the estimate. Next question is question number 19. Give 2 examples on each of the following item. Change in accounting policy. Provision for bad debts we can give. I'll show you that. Provision for bad debts, scrap value of fixed assets, estimate for useful life of fixed assets. Change in accounting policy is different. Depreciation method change, accounting estimate, change in provision of bad debts, change in estimate of useful life. For extraordinary items, a loss due to earthquake, attachment of property of enterprise by the government, and government grant also we can write. Refund of government grant. Examples of prior period items. Some omission happened on account for income or expenditure for 1 or more periods, applying incorrect rate of depreciation. These are examples for prior period items. You can read this. Question number 20. Cost of a machine acquired on 1st April 2009 was 5 lakhs. The machine is expected to realize 50,000 at the end of its working life of 10 years. The straight line depreciation of 45,000 per year has been charged up to 2011-12. For and from 2012-13, the company switched over to 15% per annum, reducing balance method of depreciation in respect of the machine. The new rate of depreciation is based on revised useful life of 15 years. The new rate shall apply with retrospective effect from 1st April 2009. State how would you deal with the above in the annual accounts of the company for the year ended 31st March 2013 in the light of AS5. The machine is expected to realize 50,000. This is always value at the year end, and company is following straight line method of depreciation and charging 45,000 per year up to 2011-12. For and from 2012-13, the company switched over to 15% per annum, reducing balance method of depreciation in respect of the machine. The new rate of depreciation is based on the revised useful life of 15 years. The new rate shall apply with retrospective effect from 1st April 2009. State how would you deal with the above in the annual accounts of the company for the year ended 31st March 2013 in the light of AS5. This is clearly a change in accounting policy. Change in accounting policy. change of depreciation method from WDV to SLM and vice versa. First, we have to find out WDV as on 2011-12 as per straight line depreciation and also reducing balance method also, because they have mentioned in the question the new rate shall apply with retrospective effect from 1st April 2009. That means we have to identify for old years also. First, WDV of asset at the end of year 2011-12 as per SLM. That means opening balance minus depreciation for 3 years. That is 45,000 into 3 years. That is 3,65,000. Next is WDV of asset at the end of year 2011-12 as per reducing balance method. We have to calculate 5 lakhs into 1 minus 15% whole to the power of 3 years. Because for 3 years we have to identify. If it is for 4 years, we have to put here 4. Now WDV as per reducing balance method for the year 2011-12 is 3,07,062. Now we have to identify depreciation to be charged for and from 2012-13. Now we have to consider the difference between these two WDV, because from 2009 itself it will be applicable. So we have to take the difference 3,65,000 minus 3,07,062 plus 15% on this 3,07,062, because from this year we have to consider 15% reducing balance method of depreciation. We will see what it is there. We have to take the difference 3,65,000 minus 3,07,062, 37,937 plus 15% on 3,07,062. Both we have to consider for their year 2012-13 as depreciation. Now we have to identify the impact. As per AS5 net profit or loss for the period, prior period items and changes in accounting policies, the revision of remaining useful life is a change in accounting estimate. Yes. And adoption of reducing balance method of depreciation is instead of straight line method is change in accounting policy. Since it is difficult to segregate the impact of these two changes, the entire amount of difference between depreciation at old rate and depreciation charged in 2012-13, that means 45,000 and the new depreciation value 1,03,997, difference is 58,997, is regarded as effect of change in accounting estimate as per provisions of the standard. The effect of this change in accounting estimate should be properly disclosed in the financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st March 2013.